Yo, homie, I'm not supposed to say anything, but you have nothing to worry about. You're in.
Yo, word? Me and Carlton got in?
Well, not exactly. I mean, you're cool and all, but Carlton, well, he's not exactly our type. What do you mean, not our type? Well, Carlton is not like you and me. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't know what you're saying. Will, Carlton doesn't exactly exemplify what I think a Phi Beta Gamma is. Oh, and what is that? Well, it's not Ralph Lauren shirts and wingtip shoes in corporate America. We don't need a brother like him in this fraternity. Man, he is exactly what you need in this fraternity. I mean, Carlton has been a straight A student since preschool. He gives you 150% every time. Look, Will, I realize he's your cousin and you have to defend him. But this discussion is closed.
How dare you not take Will? He's full of potential.
That's why we want him. It's you we don't want.
Me? But I did everything. I cooked, I cleaned, I hand-washed the toilets.
Everything your butler does for you. I'm not accepting no prep school, Bel Air bred sellout into my fraternity. Homie, you can stop all that.
No, wait, Will. I got this one. You think I'm a sellout. Why? Because I live in a big house or I dress a certain way? Or maybe it's because I like Barry Manilow.
Even Barry White, y'all.
Being black isn't what I'm trying to be, it's what I am. I'm running the same race and jumping the same hurdles you are, so why are you tripping me up? You said we need to stick together, but you don't even know what that means. If you ask me, you're the real sellout.
All right, folks, you just saw one of the most powerful clips in my upbringing. This is back in a time where shows actually had morality, had a message for the younger folks, and you can take things positive and go back into the world knowing where you stand. The story of Carlton, folks, is the complex a lot of black people have, specifically our younger black men have, in this realm where you're being forced a narrative of fitting in, i.e. meaning being a gangster, being someone who is wild, being someone who's a quote-unquote buck, being the depictions that we had of us in all these eras where we were portrayed as bunch of watermelon chicken eating, bull jiving, Django looking, nothing but a nigga image. And Carlton was over here preaching about, I didn't just look at myself as a black man. I didn't just look at myself somebody who was walking around with a crutch, and that crutch being the victim mentality. If anything, if you paid attention to the character of Carlton, that brother wasn't only a proud black man, he thought he was better than anybody white that was put in front of him because he wanted to be the leader of excellence. He wanted to be the one that was in charge. He wanted to position himself in a lane where nobody can take his angles, nobody can take his place, nor positions. Now we have kids that are aiming to be ball players, football players, rappers, someone that is hood in terms of how much slang they speak. Ladies and gentlemen, I remember growing up in those turbulent times of your fellow classmates and your fellow neighbors asking you, why do you speak the way do you speak? Why do you strive to be the best? It's almost a indignation of you trying to be the best, yet your counterparts and peers are telling you you're not black enough because you don't have a reading deficiency that like I have. You don't come from a broken down family like I have. And even though I had certain instances of that, I refused to let certain things be my crutch. And I've seen that with many other black men and women who grew up trying to be the best, and it was their own people telling them they're not good enough to be black. And that's the problem. If we had more Carltonbanks, even though it was a character, but if we had more men and women of that ilk in the spaces that we see that are of black celebrityness, right? If we had more people that had that character's ilk, in that character being Carlton Banks, you wouldn't see so many people kiss the ring. You would have saw more people with the character that being black is not something that's designed for me to be the best slang speaker. It's not designed for me to be your statistic. Being a Carlton Banks ilk tells the world I'm not going to bow down. Not only do I think I'm equal to you, but I'm striving to be better than you. I want my people to follow my road, my paths of excellence, because we were more than slaves. We are more than athletes. We are more than your entertainers. We are people from a fabric of originality, original man, original woman. We are the Asiatic black man and women of this world. We are Alpha Omega, beginning and end. Till this very day, folks, their best scientists can't pinpoint our actual birthday, meaning our origins. We predate every single human being on the planet. I don't say that to humiliate or denigrate any other race of people, but when you understand that I am your mother and father, your grandmother, your grandfather, maybe then you will respect me with better characterizations, with better depictions, with a better approach at what my background is. I wasn't your monkey that you found in Africa. We circumnavigated this whole entire planet. And that's the problem. We got a lot of people that are scared to be Carlton Banks because they think they got to be King Vons. We got a lot of people scared to be Carlton Banks in our community because they think they got to be LeBron James. No, folks. Black excellence is the way to go. Black excellence is what you input in your children's minds. And you teach them, don't you ever be ashamed because you want to speak correctly. Don't you ever be ashamed because you want to be better than the best that's in front of you, whether that might be somebody white or black. You don't ever teach them to be ashamed of from where they come from bettering their lives and their selves and their vernacular and their speech patterns and their mindsets. You never make your children feel a way to feel like they're less than the other. Because when was it black excellence to be the best hood nigga out here? I challenge my people and say, what are you doing for your children's minds? Because yes, I am in the urban cinemas of this realm called America, this theater called America. We are in the urban realms, but that doesn't mean we have to be their depictions. This ain't Jim Crow, folks. Strive to be the best. And guess what? Even when there was the Reconstruction era, even when we had black men and women going through Jim Crow, do you understand how well-spoken these so-called Negroes was? Do you understand how well-versed in art, in literature, in English they were? Do you understand that, folks? How far back they can trace their history, how far back they can trace what was done to them by who, and that usually followed with people that were in the realms of being great lawyers, great minds, the Thurgood Marshals of the world. We had great orators for a reason, folks. These are people that was never afraid of education. These are people that walked miles and miles to go to a school. See, even in our segregation, we had our best excellence. Even in our segregation, we had our best excellence. Do you understand how many young men and women that were allowed to go to college, or rather that were admitted into great universities at 13, 14, and 15 years old? Even Martin Luther King was admitted at 15 years old. We had people that made education a purpose. Mothers and fathers doing the most demeaning jobs so that their children can go strive for the best. But now today, we get talked down on if we dare even represent anything of your character, Carlton Banks. I use that for a reason. I have many people in this community that looks down on the next man and woman for wanting to be Carlton Banks. For me, growing up watching the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, I always looked at Carlton Banks as a man that knew who he was. Although I understood as I got older, he was facing an identity crisis because his race wasn't given to him to become a crutch. To the fact that he never really paid attention to that. He just wanted to be the best that he could be at whatever he partook in. And that's what we have to give back to our children. I don't know why they make you think our greatest minds in the world really was funded upon being the best person that spoke slang, the best person that could be the best coon that they could be. That's not how it was, folks. And we got to change and challenge our children to be the brightest, to be the best. Stop giving them the images of the Love and Hip Hops of the world. Stop giving them the images of the BET Awards, which is controlled by the undefeated people. You know who they are. So that's another funny thing. Even something that's pushing and detrimenting the minds of your children, it's not even owned by black people. I wonder why. So when I walk out here and I instill the righteousness in my children's mind, I tell them, strive to be Carlton Banks. Although you may have your identity crisis, your intelligence and that intellect is what's going to push you through understanding who you are. You are bigger than just your race, because being black, as Carlton said, is not what I'm trying to be, it's who I am. And if you understand the layers and depths of what it means to be black, you wouldn't limit it to be the King Vons of the world, the Boosie Badass of the world, the Nicki Minaj of the world. You wouldn't limit it to be something so insignificant to the point when you see the characters of Carlton Banks, you call them the sellout. The real sellouts are the people that speak the slang, the best slang you ever heard, the people that connects with the hood that you ever seen, but still bow down and kiss the ring. Still bow down and kiss the ring. I will try to be the Johnny Cochran of the world while you want to be something that is not of worth or proper ilk and fabric. I will try to be the best Thurgood Marshall I could be while you try to be the worst depictions that they keep giving us over and over again. That's who I want my children to be. The men of the past who never let their race become a crutch. And ladies and gentlemen, I leave you with that. What do you think of this? Like, share, comment, and subscribe. It's time for us to do better, not just in our words, but in our works. 1.